Alrighty, everybody, welcome in to Message Time to Maine. I'm Message Timed. Hey, what's going on? Everything is echoing right now. There we go. I have that issue where I start it up and then I have it echo. So yeah. So hopefully hopefully I don't get hopefully I don't get anybody this morning coming in here and trying to do weird stuff on the show. That was wild last night. I can't believe he did that. Um, so, all right. Good morning, everybody. Today we will be starting 24, 25, and 26, I believe. Give me 1 second here. Let me refresh everything. I'm literally behind a little bit, so I'm all right. No, 23, 22, 23, 24. That's what it says here. Let's see. Yep, 22, 23, 24. So, alrighty. Where is it? Alright. Okay. Chapter 22. Balak summons Balaam. Chapter 22. Then the Israelites traveled to the plains of Moab and camped alongside the Jordan, across from Jericho. Now, Balak, son of Zippor, saw all that the Israel had done to the Amorites. And Moab was terrified because there were so many people. Indeed, Moab was filled with dread because of the Israelites. The Moabites said to the elder Medan, this horde is going to lick up everything around us like an ox licks up grass of field. So Balak, Zippor, who was king of Moab's at that time, sent messengers to summon Balaam, or son of Bor. Hang on a second. I guess I'm in the right place. Bor, who was at the Pethor, near the Euphrates River, in the native land, said to Balak, "A people has come out of Egypt, cover the face of the land, and have settled next to curse me. Now, come and put a curse on these people. They are too powerful for me. Perhaps I will then be able to defeat them and drive them out of the land." Hold on a second. Something about this seems like I read it yesterday. I want to make sure this is the right one. Because did I skip something yesterday? I felt like I read this yesterday, but alright, we'll keep going. Alright. To defeat them and drive them out of the land, for I know whoever you bless is blessed, and whoever you curse is cursed. The eldest, Moab, left Moab, and Midian left, taking with them the fee of divination. When they came to Balaam, they told him what Balak had said. "Spend the night here," Balaam said to them, "and we will report back to you with an answer the Lord gives me." So the Moabites officials stayed with him. God came to Balaam and asked, "Who are these men with you?" Balaam said, "Go to Balak of Zippor, king of Moab, sent me this message. A people has come out of Egypt, covers the face of the land. Now come and put a curse on them for me. Perhaps then I will be able to drive them and fight them away." But God said to Balaam, "Do not go with them. You must not put a curse on them, on those people, because they are blessed." The next morning, Balaam got up and said to Balak's officials, "Go back to your own country," the Lord said. The, Go back to your own country, for the Lord has refused to let me go with you." So the Moabites officials returned to Balak and said, "Balaam refused to come with us." Then Balak sent other officials, more numerous and more distinguished than the first. They came to Balaam and said, "This is what Balak, son of Zippor says. Do not let anything keep you from coming to me, because I will reward you handsomely and do whatever you say. Come and put a curse on these people for me." But Balaam answered, "Even if Balak gave me all the silver and gold in his palace, I could not do anything great or small to go beyond the command of the Lord my God. Now spend the night here, so that I can find out what else the Lord will tell me." The night God came to Balaam and said, "Since the men have come to summon you," so, Balaam's donkey. So yeah, I did read through this yesterday. I don't know why. Maybe I thought this was 21 or something. I must have read further than I realized yesterday. So I'm just reading it again because it's on here. So we're gonna go through this again. Balaam's donkey. Balaam got up in the morning, saddled his donkey, and went with Moabite officials. But God was very angry when he went, and the angel of the Lord stood in the road to oppose him. Balaam was riding on his donkey, and two servants were with him. When the donkey saw the angel of the Lord standing in the road, they drawn swords in his hands, it turned off the road into the field. Balaam beat it to get back on the road. The angel of the Lord stood in a narrow path through the vineyard, with walls both sides. When the donkey saw the angel of the Lord, it pressed close to the wall, crushing Balaam's foot against it. So he beat the donkey again. The angel of the Lord moved on ahead and stood in a narrow place where there was no room to turn, either to the right or to the left. When the donkey saw the angel of the Lord, it laid under Balaam, and he was angry and beat it with a staff. Then the Lord opened the donkey's mouth, and it said to Balaam, "What have you done? What have I done to you to make you beat me these 3 times?" Balaam answered the donkey, "You have made a fool of me. If only I had a sword in my hand, I would kill you right now." The donkey said to Balaam, "Am I not your own donkey, which you have always ridden on to this day? Have I been in the habit of doing this to you?" "No," he said. Then the Lord opened Balaam's eyes, and he saw the angel of the Lord standing in the road with a sword drawn. So he bowed low and fell face down. The angel of the Lord asked him, "Why have you beaten your donkey these 3 times? I have come to oppose you because your path is a reckless one before me." The donkey saw and turned away from me the donkey saw me and turned away these 3 times. If it had not turned away, I would certainly have killed you by now, but I would have spared it. Balaam said to the angel of the Lord, "I have sinned. I did not realize you were standing in the road to oppose me. Now, if you are displeased, I will go back." The angel of the Lord said to Balaam, "Go with the men, but speak only what I tell you." So Balaam went with Balak's officials. When Balak heard that Balaam was coming, he went out to meet him at the Moabite town of Aran border of Moabite on the Arnon border in the edge of his territory. Balak said to Balaam, "I did not send you an urgent summons. Why didn't you come to me? I am am I really not able to reward you? Well, I have come to you now." Balaam replied, "But I can't say whatever I please. I must speak only what God puts in my mouth." Then Balaam went with Balak and Kethra, Huzoth. Balak sacrificed cattle and sheep, and gave some to Balaam and his officials. The next, gave some to Balaam and his officials who were with him the next morning. Balak took Balaam up to Bamoth Baal, and from there he could see the outskirts of Israel, of the Israelite camp. So, that right there is, sometimes understand it's best to be kind to people. In this case, it was an animal. And when things happen, sometimes it's the Lord redirecting you, so that way you're pretty much just not going to do what you want, because that's what sometimes the Lord don't want you to do stuff. Like, for example, if something doesn't go right for you, it's the Lord saying, "Hey, don't go and do that," stuff like that. It's more than likely a sign that things are going to go south for you. Like, so give me 1 second. I forgot. I gotta share this off to somebody somewhere real quick, because I forgot to share this off on one of my social medias. Alright. Yeah, I have like random weird numbers. I seriously wish somebody wouldn't game out my number like that. I don't know who or why a bunch of people have my number right now. It's just like ridiculous. But hey. Man. Alrighty. Balaam's first message. Balaam said, "Build me 7 altars here and prepare 7 bulls and 7 rams for me." Balak did as Balaam said, and the 2 of them offered a bull and a ram on each altar. Then Balaam said to Balak, Stay here beside your offering while I go aside. Perhaps the Lord will come to meet with me. Whatever he reveals to me, I will tell you." Then he went off to a barren height. God met with him, and Balaam said, "I have prepared 7 altars, and on each altar I have offered a bull and a ram. The Lord put a word in Balaam's mouth and said, "Go back to Balak and this give him this word." So he went back to him and found him standing beside his offering with all the Moabites officials. Then Balaam spoke his message. "Balak brought me from Aram, the king of Moab, from the eastern mountains. Come," he said, "curse Jacob for me. Come denounce Israel. How can I curse? Who can I curse? Those whom God has not cursed. Who cannot denounce? Who can I denounce? Those whom the Lord has not denounced. From the rocky peak I see them. From the heights I view them. I see people who are alive, who live apart and do not consider themselves as one of the nations, who can count the dust of Jacob, or number even fourth of an Israel. Let me die the death of the righteous, and may my final end be like theirs." Balak said to Balaam, "What have you done to me? I brought you to curse my enemies, but you have done nothing but bless them." He answered, I must not speak with the Lord. He answered, "Must I not speak what the Lord puts in my mouth?" Balaam's second message. Then Balak said to him, "Come with me to another place where I can see them." You will not see them at all. You will not see them all, but only the outskirt of the camp. And from there curse them for me. So he took him to the field of Zophim on the top of the Pisgah, and there he built seven altars and offered a bull and a ram on each altar. Balaam said to Balak, "Stay here beside your offering while I meet with him over there." The Lord met with Balaam and put a word in his mouth and said, "Go back to Balak and give him this word." So he's trying to curse a bunch of people, and the Lord's saying, you can't curse anybody, don't curse anybody, because if they're blessed, you're not allowed to curse people, stuff like that. This is supposed to teach the idea of like why you don't go around cursing people, because you may curse somebody and the Lord may not like it after a while. The Lord doesn't like people cursing people at all. That's why I try to literally like do the complete opposite. Like if I get cursed, I like to pray to turn it into a blessing and things as such. So just some food for thought. Anybody out there like trying to curse a bunch of people, don't do it, because it's not something the Lord wants from you. So he went to find him and found him standing beside his offering. The Moabite officials, Balak asked him, "What did the Lord say?" Then he spoke his message. "Arise, Balak, and listen. Hear me, son of Zippor. God is not human that he should lie, not a human being that he should change his mind. Does he speak and then not act? Does he promise and not fulfill? I received a command to bless. He has blessed, and I cannot change it. No misfortune is seen in Jacob, no misery observed in Israel. The Lord their God is with him. The shout of the king is among them. God brought them out of Egypt. They have strength of a wild ox. There is no divination against them. Jacob, no evil omens against Israel. It will now be said of Jacob and of Israel, See what God has done. The people risked like a lioness. They rouse themselves like a lion that does not rest till it devours its prey and drinks the blood of its victims. Then Balak said to Balaam, neither curse them at all nor bless them at all. Balaam answered, I did not tell you I must do whatever the Lord says. And Balaam answered, I did not tell you I must do whatever the Lord says. Alright, so, yeah, the Lord doesn't like people cursing people. Just remember that. So, alright, we're on to chapter 24 now. Let me drink some coffee here a little bit. So far, what you see is like this guy's learning that he can't. The guy's learning that he didn't want he didn't want he didn't the God didn't even want him to show up to this place, and now we got like him like continuously blessing people because the king wants everybody cursed. Okay, so this is a sign that like if you're not by now learning it and you're off like you know this is an example. You don't always have to do what everybody says. You're free to be your own person, but as long as you follow God, you can have as long as you follow God, you still are going in a good direction for yourself. A lot of people don't understand this. Like, you know, following God it's I don't know. It's not hard for me because I understand it because I have enough understanding in my life that like, knowing when to follow God and knowing when not to follow God, you know. But some people just have trouble understanding that. So, and that's something like I see it throughout my day and stuff like that. People have trouble comprehending what it's like to even follow God. Because they don't get it inside of them. They don't, they just don't understand how that feeling works. Where like, following God, it's not, for years and years of my life, I didn't even know I was following God, but like I was just doing things that I felt was right, and that's what following God's all about: is doing what you feel is right. Sometimes, even then, sometimes it's not even about feeling right. Sometimes you did it because, you know, God set Himself upon you to like go, simply like if you get the feeling to walk down to the store, you better be walking down to the store because that's God. It's a subconscious thing that God, the Holy Spirit, will set there, and he'll tell you he'll tell you how to go about your life and stuff like that. I know it's a little bit hard to believe, but that's how it works. So, Balaam's third message. Then Balak said to Balaam, these names are interesting. Come, let me take you to another place. Perhaps it will please God to let you curse them for me. From there. And Balak took Balaam to the top of the Peor, overlooking the wasteland. This guy really doesn't get the picture. This king just doesn't get it. And he's just like, come, come, we're gonna go up here today, and you should be okay to curse them from up there because here was different. The Lord may accept you wanting to curse them up here instead of down there. Like he just continues to get him in the move. So Balaam said, build me 7 altars here and prepare 7 bulls and 7 rams. Balak did as Balaam had said, and offered a bull and a ram on each altar. Now Balaam saw that it pleased the Lord to bless Israel. He did not resort to divination as at other times, and turned his face towards the wilderness. When Balaam looked out and saw Israel encamped by tribe, the Spirit of God came on him, and spoke his message. The prophecy of Balaam, son of Beor, the prophecy of one whose eyes see clearly, the prophecy of one who hears the words of God, who sees a vision of the Almighty, who fails to prostrate, and whose eyes are opened. How beautiful are these tents, Jacob, your dwelling places, Israel. Like valley they spread out, like gardens beside a river. Like aloes planted by the Lord, like cedar beside the waters. Waters will flow from their buckets. Their seeds will have abundant water. Their king will be greater than Agag. Their kingdom will be exalted. God brought them out of Egypt. They have the strength of a wild ox. They devour hostile nations and break their bones in place. With their arrows they pierce them like a lion. They crouch and lie down like a lioness. Who dares to rouse them? May those who bless you be blessed, and those who curse you be cursed. I love that right there. I love that phrase. All right, that quote right there. May those who bless you be blessed. May those who curse you be cursed. Okay. This is a phrase I've been going by lately too, where it's like, anybody who wants to, like, bless a person, you'll get that blessing back in reverse. But if you want to curse a person and be mad and be nasty with the person, then you're just gonna get cursed, and that's what I was trying to explain. That that's why I don't go around reacting a certain way now, because I see that, and that's how a lot of people don't understand. You get you the way you treat people is the same thing you get back. Is pretty much how that works, And God, if you do a bunch of good stuff to people, God's gonna send you back some great people, and you're gonna be blessed. But people don't understand that, and I don't know why that is, like, that people don't understand that, because when you look at it, man, my hair's not crazy as it was yesterday, but it still has that like standing curve to it. So, but yesterday, well, not yesterday, but like in general, people don't ever listen to that rule of, to get blessings, sometimes you have to bless people, So like yesterday, I'll probably end up, trying to pray for the guy that was in here yesterday. But boy, oh boy, yesterday was something else. Oh, what's up, Nintendo? I'm not really talking about Tomb Raider here, buddy. But I watched people play it. It looks really, really cool. Then Balak's anger burned against Balaam. He struck his hand together and said to him, I summoned you to curse my enemies, but you have blessed them these 3 times. Now leave once and go home. I said I would reward you handsomely, but the Lord has kept you from being rewarded. Balaam answered Balak, I did not tell the messenger you sent me. Even if Balak gave me all the silver and gold in his palace, I could not do anything of my own accord. Good or bad, go beyond the command of the Lord, and I must say only what the Lord says. Now, I'm going back to my people, but come, let me warn you of this people. But come, let me warn you of what this people will do to your people in the days to come. So, what did you say? Yeah. So, I'll be on stream another day. You can tomorrow again. I think I have off. My weeks have been short at work, so I'm just like I'm streaming a lot. So you'll see me on here. Just stop in tomorrow or something like that, and we'll discuss it tomorrow if you really want to, Nintendo. Um, and but you know I went I like I you know these sessions aren't really like I'm not really discussing games during these sessions, but I'll discuss them later on. Balaam's first message. Then he spoke his message. The prophecy of Balaam, son of Beor, the prophecy of one whose eyes see clearly, the prophecy of one who hears the words of God, who has knowledge from the Most High, who sees a vision from the Almighty, who falls prostrate, and whose eyes are opened. I see him, but not now. I behold him, but not near. I will a star will come out of Jacob, a scepter will rise out of Israel. He will crush his foreheads of Moab, the skull of all the people of Sheth. Edom will be conquered. Seir, his enemy, will be conquered. But Israel will grow strong. A ruler will come out of Jacob and destroy the survivor of the city. Balaam's fifth message. Balaam saw Amalek and spoke his message. Amalek was first among the nations, but their end will be utter destruction. Balaam's sixth message. Then he saw that the Kenites. Then he saw the Kenites and spoke his message. Your dwelling place is secure. Your nest is set in a rock. Yet you Kenites will be destroyed when Asher takes your captive. Balaam's seventh message. Then he spoke his message. Alas, who came live. Hold on. Alas, who can live when God does this? Ship will come from the shores of the Cyprus. They will subdue Asher and Eber, but they will come to ruin. Then Balaam got up and returned home, and Balak went his own way. So we're on chapter 25 right now. But yeah, he was kind of like giving warnings off and stuff like that, and just letting people know what's about to happen with them and all that. So it's he chose him as like a prophet or something like that from the way it seems. So all right. Wow. We're like total of 8 pages far away from reaching the next book, which is pretty cool, you know. But yeah, that's it for today. For that. Oh wow, I still got a lot of time. Um, what does the next chapter even look like? How long is it? All right, 25 is not long. I'm gonna see something here. I want to see. Hold on, real quick. I usually sit here and talk, but something just don't seem right. I must have read further than 21 because I've been reading straight through. So I must have read past 21 and not even realized it. How long was 21? Yeah, I don't know. Like I read like 4 chapters yesterday apparently. Do I want to read 26? I mean 25? Yeah, I'll just run through 25 real quick. I have more than enough time to do it. All right. So 11:35. Okay. So Moab seduces Israel. Chapter 25. While Israel was staying in Smith, the men began to indulge in sexual immorality, with Moabite women, who invited them to their sacrifice to their god. The people ate the sacrificial meal and bowed down before their gods. So Israel yoked them to the bow of Peor, and the Lord's anger burned against them. The Lord said to Moses, "Take all the leaders of these people, kill them, expose them in a broad daylight before the Lord, so that the Lord's fierce anger may turn away from Israel." So Moses said to Israel's judges, "Each of you must put to death those of your people who have yoked themselves to Baal Peor." Then an Israelite man brought into the camp a Midianite woman right before the eyes of Moses, and the whole assembly is of Israel. While they were weeping at the entrance to the tent of meeting, when Phinehas, son of Eleazar, son of Aaron, the priest saw this. He left the assembly, took a spear in the hand, and followed the Israelites into the tent. He drove the spear into both of them, right through the Israelite men and women stomachs. Then the plague against the Israelites was stopped. But those who died in the plague numbered 24,000. The Lord said to Moses, "Phinehas, son of Eleazar, son of Aaron, the priest, has turned my anger away from the Israelites, since he was zealous for my honor among them. I did not put an end to them in my zeal. Therefore, tell them I am making my covenant of peace with them. He and his descendants will have a covenant of the lasting priesthood, because he was zealous for the honor of his God and made atonement for the Israelites." The name of the Israelite who was killed with Midianite woman was Zimri, son of Saul, the leader of the Simeonites family, and the name of the Midianite woman who was put to death was Kezabai, daughter of Zur, a tribal chief of the Midianite family. The Lord said to Moses, "Treat the Midianites as enemies and kill them. They treated you as enemies when they deceived you. The Peor incident involving their sister Kezbai, the daughter of Midianite leader, the woman who was killed when the plague came as a result of that incident." So now we're on to chapter 26. All right. So these people, they were off worshiping another god, and Moses and a bunch of people just went in and killed a bunch of people for worshiping another god. And that's just how like fearful God is. Like when it comes down to it, you do not shy away from God. You know. In today's age, if God existed like the way he did back then, oh boy, a lot of people would be dead right now. You know, and that's the moral of it, is like, it's fighting against paganism. It's fighting against dark beliefs. It's fighting against that stuff, because you know you see people all the time believing in, these weird looking gods with like six hands that looks like actually very scary when it comes down to it. You see that kind of stuff. And so like, that's the kind of stuff that God doesn't really care for. And right here it's proved he doesn't like that kind of stuff. He doesn't like dark paganism magic. He doesn't respect it. And even if you did, put him above other gods, you're still technically believing in a very similar belief. And it's not going to be. He's still not going to be very happy with you. It's supposed to be him and only him. That's how God is, and you just have to start to understand that, like, believing in all these other nonsensical gods, or like dark deities or anything like that. That's just something that, like, even I sit there and think about. I'm like, well, if there's all these gods, you know, to me, I think about them as like, well, maybe if all these gods existed, maybe they're actually demons. Did you ever think of that? Because when it comes down to it, the only thing, if you're distracted from, God himself, and you're believing in all these other gods, and they're all dark, wouldn't those be considered as like believing in the lords of the underworld and stuff like that? Because that's essentially what that is. Because those gods there, they bless you with a form of, like, a form of, they bless you, but in a different way. They bless you by, like, giving you a power or something like that. That's from what I understand now. I don't know exactly how it all works, but, like, I used to know people all the time that would talk about that nonsense. I'm like, what are you talking about? Like, it just, people got weird. People were weird about it. And, like, even I don't go back to them now, because it's essentially what we have here is like, you saw what happened. They're trying to have children to, are they gonna have children to try to have children to sacrifice to these gods they believe in? Because that's what that sounded like to me, you know, and that's not exactly something God wants. You saw how furious God got, and they went over there and they're like, he's like, kill all of them, because they're like that. Now, I think they were going to sacrifice kids, and that's why God did that to them. So instead of them sacrificing children, you know, he wiped everybody out because he asked them. You even saw the priest himself go with Moses and everybody to, try to kill off these people from doing these mistakes. But yeah, that stuff's no joke. Like, people do get really serious with that stuff, and it gets really creepy at times too. How badly serious people are. And that's why, like, even if people complain about God, you gotta look at it this way. At least God's not like having you kill children to sacrifice to him. Like, you know, if anything, you're killing the animal, and he's asked, and even so, a lot of people disagree with something like that. Now, times have changed, and we're no longer sacrificing animals, because I'm not sure if that's a rule that changed later on down the road. But, you know, I guess when we do sacrifice the animal, we're capable of eating it now. I don't know. It's just something to, like, consider and think about. When it comes down to all these other, like, dark magic and stuff like that, you have to sit there and really, really think. Is this, like, is this, I would be like, is this really something that I would want to believe in? But, like, this is just my take on it. I don't know. I don't really understand that kind of stuff. Um, but as you can see here, today, in all these chapters we read, we technically we saw a lot of, like, you know, we saw him wanting to curse, um, him wanting the king wanting them to curse everybody, and God just wasn't allowing it to happen. So, that's another thing, is don't curse anybody. You don't want that on your plate. So bless them, bless them because you don't, like, I don't know. I guess I could say bless them because they, some people, you know, some people are always dealing with stuff, and I'm not trying to make this into like one of those things where like, well, they're dealing with stuff, so bless them. So no, what I'm doing is I'm saying like you don't go want to go around cursing people, because if you curse people again, you're gonna get cursed back. Pretty plain and simple. If you bless people, you get blessings back. That's why when somebody's actually bothering me, really really upsetting me, I usually don't say much about it, and I usually like focus more on like focus more on like just talking to them the best way possible. And I've learned to resort less in getting really mad at people, and just breaking things down in a way that like I can help them understand probably why I was in a state, probably why I did what I did. You know, a lot of people are so used to me getting mad so often that now I take care of things differently. And if I sit there and I'm not getting mad at you, but like I'm just sternly telling you something like or I'm explaining stuff to you and try to get your understanding as to why I'm on your side. Then it's easier for me to understand why you were doing what you were doing and why I was doing what I was doing. So because I know you're gonna listen to my side if I'm listening to your side, and hopefully you understand. You know, but sometimes people don't understand, so we have to go about things, letting them do what they want until they make their own mistake. I keep telling people, I'm like, don't go like messing things up for everybody, because that's honestly not going to be good for you. Because messing up something for people who are more or less not bothering you, that's something that you should reconsider before you actually, really really choose to mess things up for somebody. Somebody out there could be dealing with a lot and you would never know. So, you gotta sit there and kind of ask, hey, why did you act like that? Why did you do that? And listen to their explanation. They might have the actual explanation. If not, just keep going and keep asking them. You'll figure out eventually why they did what they did. You know, it's all about asking how they felt on their side. Now, yesterday I had a bad day because of a couple of things, but I chose not to let myself scurry away from what I'm doing here or anything like that. And that's just how I am now. Is like I'm more of a person to listen to an explanation as to why, and try to keep understanding. But at the end of the day, it's also, instead of playing the fool, because I said this yesterday, instead of instead of thinking somebody's a fool and you're playing the fool in reverse, remember, you're going to be considered as the fool then, because you were trying to fool the person who wasn't even doing anything to begin with. That's how it looks. So the way I look at this, and the way I do things is like, okay, so let's say somebody is doing something stupid. Okay, ask them why they're doing it first. Ask them why they're doing it instead of trolling them, instead of catfishing them. You basically have to sit there and learn the explanation as to why they do what they do. It's best not to go in automatically, make a judgment based off of something he did, and try to understand it. Maybe they did something and wasn't even aware of it. And that's sometimes how I do it. Sometimes I do things I'm unaware about, and like people get mad at me for that. But I look at it like this. I'm not reading your mind. I don't, and nobody, if you had that power, that's something God doesn't allow. That's a sin. So, sit down, listen to the person's explanation, and try to understand where they're coming from, because they might be dealing with something you're not. And, you may not understand where they're coming from at first, but if you keep talking about it and keep trying to break it down, eventually it comes down to an understanding. And as for yesterday, I explained to people, is like, I'm a little, I was like, I'm a little frustrated with everybody. That's what I said. And I said it in a manner politely as possible. I was like, I'm frustrated because you know what? I've been trolled numerous times here. I've been I've been made to look like the fool. And I was sick of it, I was sick of it. I was sick and tired of being made to look like the fool. Because you know, sometimes you gotta understand that you trolling a person makes you out to be a fool too, because you're trolling a person that is unaware and has trouble with things in their own life. So you being bold enough to think you're trolling people makes you into a fool as well, because you're being just as bad as the person you're trolling. You can't. That's how I look at it. Is like, if you're gonna sit there and troll somebody, remember, you're probably just as bad as the person you're trolling. And I'm not gonna. I don't know how to else to explain that, but to continue to troll a person and it's noticeable after a while, what are you doing? At that point, if you got it out of them once, if you trolled them once, all right, that's cool. That's being a friend. That's fine. Troll them twice, that's not so bad. Trolling them three times, then you're going over the limit, and then you're just being a complete jerk. You know, there's a rule to it. Friends don't consistently troll people, and that's the thing that I've been trying to explain to people, is like, the continuation of trolling people and things like that leads you to look like the fool yourself, because you're doing nothing but that. And that gets to a point where, yeah, you might be trolling people and it might be funny, but one day it's going to come back to haunt you in a big way. And you know what? Like, you got to understand, if you start getting accused of stuff, it's because you relentlessly trolled. And I don't casually go around accusing people of stuff. I don't do that because I know that can ruin a person's life. But I am very lenient about when you troll me and you just keep at it and you keep at it, like you want to, like, you're doing it out of desperation. That's another thing, is like, always remember, if you're consistently trolling, you're doing things out of desperation after a certain point. And you're not actually trolling anymore. You're doing things out of desperation because you feel a certain way about yourself. Consistently trolling somebody because you feel a certain way about yourself isn't a good habit to take on. You need to look inside of you and maybe consider reading this. Instead of trolling people, how about you try understanding what's going on inside of you, because you may need this, and you may need Christ. And without even you accepting the fact that you may need this in Christ, and you're out there consistently trolling people, you got to realize that, eventually all that's going to come back to hit you, and you're not going to like it. And when that happens to you, how are you going to feel? You're not going to like it very much. So just remember, continuously trolling people and trying to upset people, trying to get people to react, that's stuff that needs to be taken serious after a while, because you know this is why I don't really talk to too many people, because I'm at the point now where I'm just like, okay, whatever, do what you must. But like, at the end of the day, I'm still gonna come back here tomorrow, read the Bible, and still allow you to hear what you need to hear. It sucks because people will troll, and they'll continue to troll, and then sometimes they won't stop till it's too late, till you're ultimately upset with them. And there's going to be a moment where that's going to come back and hit you, and you're not going to like it. But you have to remember, it was because you kept doing it to that person. That's God's way of saying, don't keep trolling people, man. Because if you're trolling people and people do rude things to you, I don't know what else to say, but like, to continue to troll people and continue to go around being a jerk and starting fights and picking fights every single day because you don't have a life. I kind of don't feel bad for those people. You know, um, I just, I'll sit here and like, I'll pray for them and stuff, but at the end of the day, I'm not really, being mean towards anybody. I'm being kind as possible. And if being kind to possible isn't good enough for you, then I don't know. Uh, you know, I don't really like give people a hard time for anything they do, so I would expect it back from them. But hey, sometimes they don't. Sometimes people don't get that. And I have the past, like, I want to say the past, like, 5 to 6 years, I've met some of the worst people, and it's because people put a bad reputation out about me, saying that I'm like this, or like, I have people that literally come in here and act weird sometimes, and I just can't exactly understand the purpose of what it is about them that makes them want to act like, sit there and ask weird questions, or sit there and say weird stuff, because, you know, you should have some dignity in your life before you throw things around. Now, I understand the internet's full of like internet trolls and all that, and people literally hide behind like an image. But what happens one day when people like Elon Musk are like, okay, well, the internet's going to consist of people actually putting a profile picture up of themselves? What are you going to do then? Because your days of trolling are going to be gone, because it's going to do facial recognition. And that's something that's going to, I have a feeling that we're going to get in the near future, because you know what? With the way the internet is and the way all the trolling going right now, dude, somebody's going to get tired eventually and build a system like that, and you're going to have to use your own damn face. Sorry. Lord forgive me. But your own dang face for you to use an app on the internet, and that's something you need to reconsider. Like right now, you have the leniency of sitting behind an anime face. But let's just say that day comes along where you can't do that anymore. You have to use, and it'll even prevent you from using a real picture. That's what I think is going to happen soon. And when that day happens, like, and what I mean is like taking an AI shot, taking a photo, taking a picture of the person's face, and then turning around and using it. It's going to prevent that. And it's going to have you use your own actual face. And then what's going to happen? It's going to change a lot of stuff on the internet. I guarantee it. I can guarantee it's going to change a lot of stuff on the internet. There won't be people trolling anymore. And that when that day comes, that's a day that will be a blessing, because you know what? Things will change, and then the internet will be a different place then, because all the internet trolls that exist now, they won't exist. Profiles will probably be taken down if you're using anime pictures and all that. You can't hide behind that your whole entire life. So when Elon Musk gets at a point where he creates a profile that's built on that's built on actual facial recognition, then then people that are trolling are gonna actually have a problem, because at the end of the day, if you're not willing and capable of showing your own face, then you can't be on the internet. That's just plain and simple. There's gonna be, I can guarantee you, the internet's gonna change here in the next few years. But all right, let's say prayers before I go. And then I'll be putting a short up soon. So, all right, Lord Jesus Christ, I am praying to you today. To put some light on people's life. Lord, I pray you get the message that I sent to Elon Musk about the facial net recognition out there, so we're not having so many internet trolls on the internet and breaking down the way people treat people on the internet. Internet bullying is a very, very like big thing right now, and so when people are trolling people to the point where it becomes bullying, Lord, anybody that's done that to anybody, have them understand that it is very rude, and that they need to, get off the internet. Like, if you have a chance, Lord, affect their internet usage, in some way, if need be. Like, Lord, just put your foot down on it, and change the way those people act, because and also, put that message in Elon Musk's brain that he needs to change the internet and make everything facial recognition, or like every social media platform needs to be changed to where it has facial recognition, so they can use the app. So that's the only way they can get into the app and all that. Lord, I pray you also, you bless everybody. You've blessed a lot of people the past few days with a lot of great things. Lord, bless the people who spent Valentine's Day alone. Bless them with a person that they can spend,
spend time with. So that way they're not feeling alone, Lord, and so that people aren't relating or resourcing to the internet to be social, Lord. Lord. And also, I pray to you to bless Brittany Venti today and Melanie Mack. They had a. It looked like they both had a lonely Valentine's Day. So put it. Like you know, bless them. Bless me. If I need to connect with anybody, try to connect me with them, Lord. And Lord, just put some light in people's life, and bless everybody today that had bless everybody today that needs it. Some people had a very, very, not so great Valentine's Day, and Lord, just make today a better day than yesterday for for a lot of the people, because a lot of people didn't spend Valentine's Day with anybody. I witnessed a lot of women alone on Valentine's Day, and and I don't know about men because I know I was alone. But anybody that was alone yesterday on Valentine's Day, bless them with a person they can spend time with, In Jesus' name, amen. So there you have it. I'll be seeing you tomorrow morning. I think I am off, so I'll be doing a double stream tomorrow morning and then later on in the day. So, all right. With that said, guys, I'll see you later. God bless you and take it easy, and I'll be seeing you next time.